malaria is a disease that I have dreaded since my childhood, and I still dread it now, now in my 40s. In 2005, I traveled to Western Kenya and then came straight from Western Kenya and went for a trip in New York. I hadn't taken my prophylaxis when I went to Western Kenya, so there was a chance that I could have gotten malaria. But I also didn't buy anti-malarials to travel to the US because I wasn't thinking I got malaria. So I arrived in the US. I'm supposed to be there for 3 weeks. I was doing some work with a partner in New York, and the second week I get malaria. And because in Africa malaria is you just walk into a chemist and buy medicines, when I realize I have malaria in the US, I walk into a chemist and they don't have any antimalarials. And so the next thing I do is to go to a hospital. So I go to a hospital, and because they don't know how to deal with it, they actually admit me in the hospital. And it takes them about a day to actually get antimalarials. And it was some very old malarial medicine that they had to use IV to put someone IV for the next 3 days with this very old antimalarials. I can't remember that it was penicillin or something like that, but they put me on that IV for 3 days to just cure malaria. And I became a specimen because the university I was admitted in was a university hospital. The hospital was a university hospital. And so every day, almost every morning and evening, students would come to watch me and see how the malaria patient is recovering or how the malaria patient looks like. It was a bad experience because I realized that I was lucky that that city in the US actually had the malarial medicines. Because I later came to learn that there are some cities in the US where you won't even find malarial medicines, and so some people have actually died. So I was lucky because I survived. Within 4 days I was able to travel back home. But I survived with a lot of side effects. Actually, I remember leaving that hospital with all my lips swollen. My lips were swollen, and the lower lips were actually drooping because there was a lot of water in my body. And that was the reaction to that medicine, because it was very, very old antimalarial medicine that had a lot of bad side effects. But I survived. I'm alive today. But I remember traveling on the flight for all those hours from the US with swollen lips, they're dripping, and my whole body I was scratching. It wasn't a good experience. So I keep wondering why it's taken us a very long time to eliminate malaria. Sometimes I've asked questions like, what is the value of the mosquito? Because for me, the mosquito has often come very close to taking my life.
Is the mosquito more important than my life?
I don't believe so. And so I work so hard to ensure that in my lifetime, we're going to eliminate malaria. Thank you.